Hello and welcome. This is a predictions video, so most definitely, certainly, all trades, bets, and of the like within each's own risk and their own reward. Stock market, cryptos, precious metals, and a lot of different cryptos as well, and different time frames, all that kind of stuff. Now, a lot of these predictions, I'm kind of tailing. Tailing means copying from other people, sort of twisting, not really twisting, but like a poker player when you try to read people. I do that quite frequently. I mean, I know there's a lot of good integrators who can read like a kick ass, and I mean, I'm not that good, but I can read people pretty good. So a lot of that's in play. If the prediction is not tailed, which will be mostly in the S&P 500, I'll let you know. And also let you know what I hope happens too. What I think will happen, what I hope will happen. So as far as the S&P 500 is concerned, when we look at this, this is all me. I think another leg higher is going to happen, significantly above a noticeable break of this resistance. I'm not all that confident with it because I know a lot of financial turmoil I think is going to happen in July. That's not my prediction, but it's going to be more European based. But I think technical analysis speaking, getting above this resistance, a little grind move higher, esque like or AKA like a lot of that we have seen with a lot of these past bull runs. This one here, you can see how this just grinds its way continuously up. Something in that esque form to continue another leg higher. But when it comes down to the stock market in general for the long-term analysis, again, this is all me here. And I guess Mike Maloney is someone that I've listened to a lot as well, who's been saying for a long time that the stock market's been way overextended, and it has been. As I always look at key lows, key highs, and key lows even goes below this level of 42 when we look back from like around the 1987 through 1990 low, which was even lower than that. And I mean, they're easy to read, each one, and wherever this high happens to go. So I think it's going to be a little bit higher, but I don't think we're anywhere out of the woods for a major long-term move that will come back to this level, at least a key level to here. And most likely in a esque financial panic like it was in 2008, 1987, in some sort of storybook fashion, meaning that you can write a story and it'll be interesting how it will be stated after the fact. But obviously, price action is well overextended. Buyers are in control. It could keep going up, and like I state, I wouldn't be surprised if there's a little bit of more of an intermediate run higher before we have the long-term fall. And now moving on to gold. A lot of these predictions are 50-50 based on the information I'm getting. And I'm going to let you know more about this and analyze this because I think this is going to be good. It'd be interesting if this is going to be how accurate this is going to be. Regardless, I'm going to uh, I'll reference who I'm talking about later on. More views than me, of course, because I don't get many. But yeah, within gold, I mean, I've already talked about this before. How I think we're gonna have a good move. I even think this month, but within this next couple months, up to this level in here, this break above this Fibonacci resistance, and gold 5,000 in the somewhat ever near term, like next year, doesn't seem out of proportion. I have a hard time believing that. I don't think it's going to happen personally, but it looks like it might. I don't want it to happen personally, but I'm okay with it happening given that I own a little bit of gold and silver will probably follow suit with it. That is, I do not want to see gold 5,000 in the year 2020. If it happens, it happens. I don't think that there be any kind of major North American economic collapse that will take place in the next several years, up to like 22, 23 even. But definitely, I don't see it in the next three. And when I say major economic one, major monetary fall, what happened in 2008 and all the stuff anything that's happened in our lifetime isn't big enough to justify such an event of anything that's leading to hyperinflation. If you notice that a basket of goods this exact time last year, I can count produce and seasonal items based on the month of the year this way. But if a bunch of groceries, a full basket cost $350 last year for what you would buy, buying the exact same quantities and the exact same items the best you can. If it cost $350 before, maybe it costs $475. That's not a major economic move. When that number has at least doubled to tripled and it keeps going higher, now we're in major economic problems. When inflation is truly over 100% over 12 months. Are we close to that right now, guys and girls? Not even close. Will we possibly see some significant spots where, oh, 44% inflation? Not even that. Maybe for some individual items, definitely. But doing a basket is a good way of doing it. Maybe you see 20%, 24%. Like everything just seems to have a 10, 20% move. Well, those are the early signs of it. And within the transfer of wealth that you might have heard from Mike Maloney, I look at this as we are entering times of both hyperinflation and hyperdeflation, and we've barely seen the early signs of it. We're living it right now. For if you take the basket of goods compared to 1 year ago, 2 years ago, 5 years ago, how do you think the prices are high or low? How about gas prices recently over the last 10 years? Actually, I go back to 2005, Hurricane Katrina, because that's when gas prices hit the peak here. And so therefore, it is, it's not above that yet, but it's close to it. But when gas prices are 40, 50% higher, we might be getting closer to those decent stages. And I think that's about as bad as it's going to get. And if we have any moves like that where gas prices go up 60%, they're sure to fall back down a little bit after that. And then go back up and go down, and markets go up, markets go down. Okay, so there's a little bit on oil and I guess on actual products, but I want to really talk about the overall spot. Now, in the very, very long term time frame for gold, I do think that we are going to break this level of resistance and I think never go back. This is me saying that, but that's what I think is going to happen. It will break 5,000 eventually, but I think when it goes to 5,000, if it does shortly, if it does go to 5,000 in the next year or 18 months type ballpark time frame, then I think that the most it would retrace back to might be between 2,000 and 2,500 in a situation of that kind of event. Another way of putting this is when it breaks 4,000, I think there's a good chance we'll never go below 1850 kind of deal. And that will mean forever. Because one of the things I have been stating going back to way back in here is the final price. And the final price is when this game is over. When the fiat currency system just doesn't live anymore, and it just, what's the whole point of charting this gold and silver and anything against the dollar, because heck, no one's even really trading or using the dollar anymore as it is anyway. And that's when we start talking about 5-digit prices and potentially even going higher than that, but they wouldn't be for a long, long period of time. It wouldn't surprise me, though, if you were to see stable prices for maybe several months in the 5 figures. Now on to silver. And as far as the gold to silver ratio, which I'm not going to show, is concerned, I personally have absolutely no idea. I wouldn't want to take a venture guess. So if I have to venture guess, I'm going to take the tailing pick, and the gold to silver ratio will go up in the short term. And long term, I really don't have any information on the other end, but at least I'm going to be getting some soon. But I think it's going to go way, way, way lower. My prediction for the gold to silver ratio, I really wouldn't be surprised if it goes to the par. And that's an extreme, probably flash hit kind of move if it does it that level. But conservatively, at an aggressive level, having some stable time below 10 on the silver ratio, where 1 ounce of gold is worth 10 ounces of silver. and like 9 or 8, 7, that type of stuff. Between 7, 8, 9, where there's at least stable trading near there. That wouldn't surprise me, but I think we'd have to wait till well after May of 2024, or like a long, long time from now. But into the 20s, I would think. Maybe 7, 8 years from now, it could get to some extreme levels. I believe myself. I've been saying this for a while, and I'm trading my portfolio this exact way. Is the following: there are three levels of coins that I want. Three of them. There will come a time, I think, where there is going to be a melting frenzy, a booming business where a lot of silver will be melted. Constitutional old silver, a bunch of sterling silver, jewelry, whichever form you can get, and of course 999 physical bullion, melted down in large amounts. And of course for higher prices. Silver prices short term, I'm hoping that they stay below 32. I'm hoping even more they stay below 21 for the next 18 months. And I predict personally that they will actually stay below 21. But I'm a little concerned that if gold goes to 5,000, how high this could go. And I don't mind that because I own a lot of silver. But during the silver melting period, what am I going to want to send to them? Constitutional silver, if I still have it. All of that Sunshine Mint, all the generic stuff that I pay very little for. Like last time I bought silver, I bought 25 ounces. 20 of them were 1 ounce bars, the cheapest I could buy them for. Those are planned just to get melted. One of them I kind of like, so 19 of those 20, because they were 20 of what they chose. One of them I really liked, so one's a keeper. But of those 19, they get melted. Even that other one might too. It's not that great, because they're just value silver. And then the one of the other ones, which would be the earlier one, that's the second one. The first one is as the prices go higher, when we're seeing 50 to 200 to the 1,000. So basically the three-figure price range silver. At that point, I'm still going to like constitutional silver, and I'm going to like the good silver, which means in Canada, 49 maples. In the United States, 999. I think it's 99925 or whatever. Whatever. But it's your silver eagles. In Australia, your kangaroos and all the other ones like that. In Mexico, you got a lot of your awesome coins. I don't got many of your Mexican coins, and your own whichever one's big for your area. The Libert there's ones in Europe. They got their own, so on and so forth. So whatever is hot for your area, because those to me I think will work out to be the best trades. And the final one, the long, long, long term one. I'm going long term on this. Minimum into the 30s, but probably starting then. Definitely the 40s and 50s, especially with nostalgia acts and everything. I think a lot of the silver of today's times, even the stuff that hasn't been made that will be made in the next few years, that has got the collector's item to it because of whatever it has and whatever it represents. One of the things I'm looking to get is a complete 1 kilo round collection, or coin collection rather. The 1 kilo coin collection of every Australian coin there's ever been. And I only own 5 of them right now. So I got a long ways to go. But when we talk about cryptocurrencies, it's a reasonable goal. And that's going to be for the next stage. For the coins that don't get melted, because a lot of these good coins are going to get melted in that melting stage. So the rarity of a lot of these coins are going to have supreme value. Basically, one of my predictions is it's going to be very common, even for stuff like a maple or an eagle, to be worth 50, 60% more in like 2040 than whatever's made that year, a normal whatever coin. So the premiums are just going to be hefty, and that's going to be lame ass premiums. There's going to be a lot of coins I think that are going to have 2, 3x type premiums. It wouldn't surprise me, or higher than the other ones because of the time factor delay. So I want to accumulate as many of these nice little coins that I can that don't get to the melting stages, that basically I die with. The ones that maybe if I get old enough, I might be able to flip here and there for something, for whatever I like when I'm 80. If I get there, of course. That's like the whole plan of it is this is something that at that time could work out to be very, very phenomenal. And I won't be 80. I'll be close to it, I guess. And I'll be 80 in 2055. So yeah, I'll be. But yeah, and I'm even saying 2040 is an early time frame as well. 15 minutes in, I was planning on at least 30. So that would be the workout for the completion on the silver. And again, the ratios of the 8 to 9s. That would take us past that second level. The first level is bringing it back down to like 15 and 20 and 30. 30 might not take too long though. So who knows after that point. But yeah, I do think that there's a good chance. And then the whole melting phase value is when we're talking the gold to silver ratio well into the single digits at that time frame. There is when there's going to be a big demand for it. And with the prices being so damn high, it's just going to be how do you not want to melt it? There's going to be I think such huge demand for that physical metal. Now let's go into Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. Within BTC, start off with a short term, which is the daily chart. As we move into July and August, a lot of this is going to be altcoins kicking ass, and and as using that poker player read is all I'm doing on this, and a lot of it is poker player read and my technical analysis on what I see happening in here. As we move into the next little while, I think it's going to hold its ground, but it's level for where it could go to the next couple months. I would guess it's going to play around and test within previous highs of the 20. Wouldn't surprise me. But my best prediction is that it hangs in there at least, which means it holds and stays above, well above the 10,000 number. I think we will break above this 18 average of highs in this level too, though. So as far as, and then breaking above this level, we're talking about 15, 16,000 short term, and that's all me because that's short term technical analysis. But that's on the if statement. I mean, obviously, two layers it's got to do. It's got to get above here. It's got to get above the 18 average of high to get past this neutral level. Then it's got to get above that. And that type of beautiful stuff. And of course, using the weekly chart. Well overextended. And again, using my technical analysis that I've talked about for quite some time. As far as market behavior and volatility is concerned, when you're in a situation like this and the markets have extended as large as it has, it really isn't that. That really is the next move. I mean, 18,000, 20,000, that area is next. And I don't think Bitcoin's going to have any major phenomenal moves anytime soon. Anytime soon is defined as uh, Thanksgiving US to Christmas in that area there. However, 16 to 30,000 area, I believe, is well, there's a good chance we could be hanging in there for the latter part of this year, for the remainder of this point. It's very difficult for me to go over this because one of my predictions I made a little while ago, and I'm 100% standing by it because market dynamics haven't changed, is that we will be seeing Bitcoin prices into the six figures within the next 6 to 70 or 80 months. Even 4 months, because when we're in this hyper aggressive mode, if we have any quick moves that take us in here and we don't pull back when we're supposed to, like what's going on if it makes it and gets up to like in here? And I know that flash sucked, but let's just go like this. If it goes up to like in here, like 28, 30, if it doesn't stop going up there and it happens fast, it's well extended from the 18 highs. You get phenomenal large green candles. All the uptrend lines on the intermediate term time frames get taken out on the upside. All those uptrend lines get broken. Then you get to major hyperbolic hog wild style parabolic, and if it doesn't stop, and I'm not going to try to predict if it does or it doesn't, I think it would, but I definitely wouldn't guarantee it, and I definitely wouldn't put any 90%, 80% lock type move, 90% lock level that it would. A 90% lock level means it's close enough to a lock over 90% probability to happen. I couldn't even do that. And then if it breaches that, my prediction is this thing could go so shit ass crazy. Whatever on the language, it's just regular speaking for me. That it's like 100, 200 is like, yeah, that's possible. So that's why I got to go like 4 to 60 months, but it's so much more likely, and I think it's going to be closer to like 40 months or 50 months or sometime into the 20s because I don't think there's going to be any major. That to me, six-figure Bitcoin, well in the quarter million, is where we're getting into major. Like I stated on the outset of this video, I don't see any major economic collapse occurring. And I really don't think that can happen until we get to the six-figure $250,000 Bitcoin level. And I think that does happen at that level. So I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon, but I'm definitely going to be on the watch radar for it if any price action does manage to get into that 30. So it wouldn't surprise me if we have a lot of volatile back and forth, up and down, choppy action, and it eventually works its way there, where we might find some intermediate tops north of the 20, but well south of the quarter 250. 30,000, 40, 60s. And I got 60,000 ish area. Appears above 60 is that more like level before long term, whatever you want to call it, intermediate, however, whatever name you want to give it, which is many months. And in that, it would be, yeah, 60,000. Maybe we might see that around Christmas time, but before, maybe even next Thanksgiving. But I think in that some sort of time frame, a price action move to 60,000 is going to take place. Like somewhere 70,000 even. Somewhere up to about here. And then have a significant pullback. Maybe as deep as that, maybe only as deep as here, and maybe even a lighter one down to here. But I would have to think that at minimum a 60 plus percent pullback is going to occur. It always happens. The last one we just seen was 20,000 to a little over 3. That was about a 6x, better than a 6x decline. 50% is a 2x decline. 66.7% is a 3x decline. 75% is a 4x decline. 80% is a 5x decline. So to have any like 70ish or percent moves from there, that's all part of the game. And I think that's going to happen. It's going to have a decent decline of at least, again, well better than double. Probably even at least 3x after that point. And then within time after that, do its normal bottoming out procedures. We're seeing it happen now. We've seen it happen back in here. And there were even other times in here. Like even in this one here, there was a little bit of one. Then it just settled there. Maybe you get it. Like I said, this is a light one. That's what might happen. This was an example of, as I mentioned, if it goes to 60,000 and we have a light decline, it would look something I think like this, where we go 60,000 down to like 30,000. And on this light decline, may I point out, it was 246 down to 67, and that was a light decline. Why was it light? Because it barely went below the 18 average on them weekly. That's why it was light. And it definitely held and stayed above it. But the volatility of this game over time is going to keep decreasing until just before the end game, as more participants get involved in this game. That's why with each of these declines, you talk about them getting lower and lower. Oh, yeah, before it used to be like, well, what was this? $11 down to even a dollar. I think it was even worse than a 10. Like, I think it was more than 11 and more lower than at 1 on a big decline. So we've had like 20, 30, 40x declines way back in the early days before this even existed, before late 2011. And then this decline here, 227 to this, but the main one I want to focus is on this one. 1058 to 150 or 11. So like an 8x whatever decline. 8, 9. So here we have a 6 point whatever x decline. Okay, so what's the next upgrade after that? This is the type of math examples I learned in what, grade 4, 5, 6 or whatever? I mean, yeah, it was the area of 4, maybe 4.5, 4. because it just keeps getting a little bit lower. Then it goes to like 3 and 2, and then really the stock market is at like 2.4x game, like really 2 to 3. I mean, it's a normal decent collapse for the market is 2x and 3x is decent. So that's like normal standard volatility you can compare it to. So it's working its way to that. Not that far away, I don't think. Really, that move to, again, that gives me more reason why I think like around 200, 300,000 Bitcoin is endgame currency. Now let's move on to Litecoin. This is pretty much mostly all me and all the stuff that I've learned throughout the years, and many, many, many other people as well. I got to say that right there. Because, yes, I do watch several other people. It's not too many, 4 or 5. And then I'll occasionally from here to here, I'll just watch random videos of random people and random articles I'll read here and there. And then, of course, I don't. It's just whoever. I just random people that's coming up that I'll listen to, decipher through it, and all that type of stuff. I am surprised thoroughly in the last 30 days within the price of Bitcoin or Litecoin. It has hung in there. It has stayed. It has hung in there. Okay, yeah, it's got a bearish sentiment as far as this is concerned, but even down towards here, it really this is the as far as the hanging in there must hold. I really got that at 100, so it's technically this bearish sentiment that would be its target level. So I don't know if it's going to hit that or not. It might not. I don't think it will. It could. I think if it does, it's most likely to happen on a flash type of move, which the flash move is when it goes down and back up really fast. The Litecoin halvening is an event that occurs in about a month or so from now. I wouldn't be surprised if this has a phenomenal rally and the sell off for this doesn't really happen directly after it. When I talk about directional movement, I really mean all the altcoins. When I say this, although I wouldn't be surprised if altcoin has a nice little introductory move, and in such, that would be sweet. But an introductory move means, as I predict altcoins to have a phenomenal move, I wouldn't be surprised if maybe for the first day to 3 days, that Litecoin really shows amazing results. Minimum 50, 65%, and if not 100 to 125. Or even 200%, getting up to previous high, maybe at a highest levels, in the close to 400. That would be an extreme proportion. And in this, I would think there's a good chance that after that we're going to have some sort of good pullback. But I mean, as far as a monster one, no. Remember, a good pullback would be maybe going from 385 to maybe even 100. Even 100 would be fine. Definitely a significant higher low to here. That's really what I would state. A significant higher low to here. And the 100 would be just that. And then after that, I think this is going to be bullish until close to football season. And then after this, it's probably as we move into Bitcoin going into a quarter million. I wouldn't be surprised if Litecoin breaks well over 10,000. And from that point on, for now, this is it with Litecoin, and I think I'm going to put a different chart on because I want to talk about really all altcoins together. But I still haven't talked about Bitcoin's future, and I'll use Bitcoin Cash to do that. And I'll put that chart up next. And this is what we got. This is going back to what do we got for a date here? December 2017. So just a few months after its birthday. Oh, by the way, Bitcoin Cash turns 2 on August the 1st. Wish it a happy birthday. And I wonder if that's going to have anything on a psychological level. I'm just thinking that right now. August the 1st on Bitcoin Cash. That might be an interesting thing because that is its birthday. August 1st, 2017 is its birthday. Okay. Now, as far as this is concerned, I think this is going to do very phenomenal. But when I talk about its predictions, I'm going to talk about Um, all altcoins, especially the good coins, and most of the coins, and I think a lot of the shit coins that are out there are gonna do one of two things during this upcoming rally. That is, they're either not going to participate too well in it, or they're going to have a failed breakout, meaning this rally the highs that they hit will be all-time highs for them, and they're going to go way down after that. So they might participate into the move because it's a dartboard rally as I call it, where everything goes up. And I like the term dartboard rally because when you throw darts, it's pretty easy to hit something and not get nothing. But sometimes you will hit a loser. You're probably not going to hit the bullseye, but you might. And sometimes you can get the 20 and the 16 and the 4 and the 5, meaning assorted different numbers. And I like to use that because some markets will do much better than others. And I do like to throw out the fact that that you're good at hitting 20s and 18s. But even then, if you're good at picking, I mean, those type of players are ones that are good at picking coins. We'll say that. But when you throw darts, you're going to hit the dartboard better than like 95. Like for me, when I was a I haven't played darts since I was a kid, pretty much. And a kid means from like age 6, age 7 to like age 20 or 22. And I guess during my teenage years and I guess 12 years old and later when I was not pretty good at it, if I wanted to hit the dartboard, I'd hit it probably 99% of the time. 99.5% of the time. It was pretty easy. Now, granted, I can't say that because I mean I really never did try that really, and a lot of times you shoot for doubles and you just miss. So, of course, when you hit the dartboard rally, you're not shooting for doubles. But within that being stated, all of these altcoins are gonna have their days here and there. So when I talked about like Litecoin starting something, don't be surprised if it's not the only one. And there's obviously ones that have probably already done it that I'm not even aware of because I'm not looking at them right now. But there's going to be ones that are just going to have such phenomenal moves, better and independent to itself. And Bitcoin Cash will have those moments. And I'm never trying to predict when for any of them, and I won't. But I will predict that they will have their moments when their time suffices. Over July and August, I'm expecting a multi-week bull market at a much higher rate of ascent than I've just drawn in. But up until this point, so we're looking up to around in here. So start of football season. I wouldn't be surprised if this does even a more phenomenal rate. Now, whether it will get back to 3,000, I predict that it will get to 3,000 before the first game of the National Football League or before Labor Day or whatever time frame around that point. Maybe a little later, but around that time frame, I wouldn't be surprised if it makes a move up towards there. And thus, whatever Bitcoin does, it's going to outperform Bitcoin. Because again, like I mentioned with Bitcoin, I'd be very surprised if it goes to 30. So if Bitcoin goes to 30, that means it's got to like triple. Well, if that goes to 30, and this goes to like 3,700, that's going to do like 9x. So it would like triple, like overperform Bitcoin. But if Bitcoin triples, I wouldn't be surprised if this goes to like 10,000. And before we get into long-term analysis, as far as the short-term there after that, expected probably a very good sudden pullback throughout the start of the autumn time frame, northern hemisphere, I would think. Sideways and downward movements, and then another good. I think it's going to be just an intermediate, short-term, really a short-term pullback that will happen, which will then complete the intermediate term run higher. So for another leg that would come up again, sometime maybe around Christmas, bit before, maybe afterwards, maybe it takes a while, moves into next year, summer or whatever. But one more good leg higher that will after that. So basically, within the next year, I don't know how fast it's going to be, but I think it'll be a couple of months of a very good move. A good pullback after that, which will probably take longer than the move to get there, or longer than 2 months of a correctionary phase. And then another very good leg higher that should happen within the next year. And then thereafter that, as we move into several years, it's going to keep doing its thing and probably do very well. And with that being said, I'm not surprised when I heard this, but this is my guess. Bitcoin Cash will be the first coin to have a higher market cap value than Bitcoin. And I think it's going to take a long time to happen. I think it's going to take a while. Might take at least a couple of years. But Bitcoin Cash will do it. I don't think Ethereum will ever do it. This is me saying Ethereum, by the way. And it's not me saying Bitcoin Cash. I don't know if Litecoin will do it or not, but I think it's got the potential to. But I wouldn't be surprised if that doesn't happen. And this goes down, I think, at least it makes a lot of sense that the fees will get out of control on Bitcoin. I mean, for me last night, I decided to take okay, not really that much, but something of my Bitcoin, get rid of it again. I'm not too bullish on it, but yet I am short term, intermediate term. And that might be for a separate video, but long story short for that is I want to accumulate Bitcoin during this next rally and then look to buy those coins that I sell back. And then, of course, use the Bitcoin to buy precious metals and other things as well. Okay, but that's long story short. So, within it, let me just pause the tape because I lost my train of thought. It was the fee that I paid. It was like $1.50. $1.50 to send Bitcoin off of my Trezor hardware wallet. And by the way, with your Trezor wallet, make sure you protect that because it used to be thought that if someone stole it from you, it was safe because they'd have to be able to know your password to get in. Well, apparently they can actually use devices to be able to bypass that event. Now, if they don't have it, then they won't be able to hack it. At least I don't. There's nothing on that I've ever heard of that can be done on that. But if someone does steal your Trezor hardware wallet, there's other ones like that, like the Keep keys as well. They can actually use technology and devices to be able to get the paraphrases and be able to gain access to whatever's in there. So that's something of worth noting. That if you have a Trezor like I do, you might want to store it like you store precious metals or something you store very securely. And then when you need it, you just have to go back and forth. I'll have to go back and forth 20 to 40 times, 100 times a year. So be it. Not 100. That no, not even close to 100. 40 to 50, 60. Because I can go. I mean, yeah, 40 to 60. But some days it's out for the whole day, and then it's you use it 2 or 3 times a day. At least for me. Now, with that being said, Bitcoin fees. Don't be surprised. Like, at $250,000. Let's look at it on two levels when we talk about fees. We're talking about the grade stage of hyperinflation. So what you think something is worth now has to be worth 2, 3, 4, whatever, 5 times more, depending on its item in the future and its actual real supply and demand. And in this case, both its supply and demand is its computer code program. But when you're at a stage where you're like, oh, I'm paying like $350 to move Bitcoin at $250,000 or $250, $200, whatever. You might be saying then, you know what, $5 is extremely cheap and reasonable because $5 is not going to be worth what it is today. But it's still going to be worth something. You might get your French fries and a small soda with it. Maybe. But I know maybe you're used to me for myself. If I'm just on the road and I want a quick bite to eat, and it's like whatever kind of deal. And I usually like to get a bit better, but 12 bucks, $13 to get maybe a nice sandwich and something with a side on it, and then a drink on top. Usually that's something in that nature, but maybe that's $22 and $28 for those meals. Especially when you talk about some of those healthy and better varieties, and definitely more popular varieties that goes through. But during the hyperinflation, hyperdeflationary periods, the one way I look at it is in that the transfer of wealth. When you have prices going up like that, if you're not into cryptocurrencies and you're not profiting from it, if you haven't been able to get gains with your gold and silver, then you're not able to take advantage of the prices barely going higher. Meaning, if a basket of goods goes up first at, say, 50%, 40%, and I'm hoping if that's the case, your crypto portfolio is in well more than 10 times higher. That's hyperdeflation. It's almost like buying it for dimes on the dollar. Then the next stage is pennies on the dollar. As you get to major hyperinflationary stages, and now a $250,000 Bitcoin, especially if you can get coins like Bitcoin Cash, which could it get to a quarter million? Well, Bitcoin, I remember it was 400 and 100. Yeah, I suppose it could be a quarter million as well too. Maybe that might be where the ratio trades. That would be an interesting number because I've thought that for years with gold and silver. At what price would the ratio match at 1 to 1? Because I've talked about the 1 to 1 gold to silver ratio, and I've thought about it for a long time, for most of this decade, but going back to probably 2011, 2012, 1 to 1 ratio. And what number would it meet up at? 5,000 is laughable. It's higher than that. At first, I was thinking 2550, but I don't know. At what point, if you're trying to get further in the game, of which, if you believe a coin is going to overperform Bitcoin, which means its market value price is higher, what would the price of the two be? And in this case, you got to be fancy and you got to look at the coin supply. Thankfully, Bitcoin Cash is basically the same. So it kind of doesn't work. So like LITECOIN, for example, there's a 4 to 1 ratio kind of deal. So you have to look at you have to do a math based on the supply. Like if some coin has 150 million coins, well they got a decent amount more, and if they got a billion or 3 billion, like I mean Ripple's not going to be worth more than Bitcoin in dollar terms. Will it be in market cap? It's definitely a contender. It's one of the top contenders given where it is on the market cap, because the top contenders would be, oh, Ripple, and then Ethereum, Binance Coin maybe. I don't know. You got to put anything in the top 10 has got a chance, but I don't think Binance Coin would have much of a chance. Binance Coin, I think, will continue to do well. As it's definitely going to be integrated. I think they're going to have a new exchange come up because this whole thing they did last month about delisting U.S. people from trading, what is in 2 months, what is now 1 month from now, I gotta believe is not going to be an issue really at all. Because I think what's going to happen upon that is they're going to come out with an exchange pretty much right at that point that just doesn't have margin trading, and all those coins that you once loved and sold before you can buy back again. And that's going to be part of the August flurry rally, I think, within the altcoins when August to like around football season. Sometime near football season, I think we're going to have the at least top one of two of the altcoin rally. And that's me saying of two, and that's the other person saying then. So that would be very, very interesting. I think the average coin will go up about 10 times. Some more, some less. Some will go 2 times, 5 times, 20 times. That's all part of the dartboard rally, like I stated. Some will do more phenomenal than others. And one of the safer ones to presume that's going to have the chances of the 20, 40, 100x moves are the ones that are not in the top 20. And even some that are in the top 20, like 2017, 15, can fly to 5 pretty fast and have a kick-ass rally. But Theta as one example for me, and this is pretty much me going on this one, I wouldn't be surprised if this thing crushes the 5,000 number, even possibly by football season. But if not by football season, crushing it on the second part, like around Christmas time or later. And in terms of dollars, it's like a 12-cent coin. So this is the type of math I do and try to calculate. Okay, well if this goes to this level, it goes to 5,000 and Bitcoin does well. Well, let's first say this goes up 5 times. So we're at 12 cents, that's 60 cents. But this is priced against Bitcoin. Now we have to change that by the Bitcoin increase. And if Bitcoin goes to 30,000 for that, then we're looking at even 3 times higher than that. So this could easily be a $2 coin. And I think that's conservative. I would not be surprised if this becomes a $5, $10 coin this year. And this is more of, I mean, I don't have any major leads to tell me that's going to be the case, other than the fact that I know statistical measures say that this is a pretty good coin, I think, and I like its fundamentals for its long term. No, Michelle White Dove states thousands of dollars for a coin that's 12 cents right now. So at $1,200, that's 10,000x. We'll see. We'll see. I'm not going to try to say anything upon that, but what is. I mean, this is just. I mean, common sense on this one. And I'm using the if statement. But if such a monopoly like YouTube is actually entered into the point where it at least becomes Coke Pepsi kind of competition, at least, if not beating it. But if Theta becomes into the field, and they've actually talked about game plans and doing this, and far of what I mean, that this is what their roadmap, I guess, is another way of putting it. But if they become a serious contender in this game, then monstrous gains is guaranteed. And in order to get a 10,000x gain, 10,000x, when the cryptocurrency field is going to be going through like a 100x type gains kind of deal. With everything else getting 100x and you're getting 10,000x. You got to do something majorly fantastic. That's just what it comes down to. Majorly fantastic. And that's what that would be. And then when we talk about thousands, like 10,000 would be $1,200 theta. So if she's referring to thousands, and this is a big renowned world psychic, this is predicted a year and a half ago almost, a month after theta came out. That's how early this was, or maybe 2 months after, but very pretty much the same thing. So at the areas of like 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, now we're talking about 20, 30,000 times gains, and maybe 300 times over on Bitcoin. Okay, this is extended further than I want, and I'm really testing the bar for this to work, and I think it usually does at 47 minutes. I got pretty much everything that I wanted to say completed, and when I talk about these rallies, like almost everything, I mean, whatever's on the list, it's probably going to go up. That's what a dartboard rally is. See if it happens. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.